Hey, it's your host, Chad Bryan, the sports show with no name. We still don't have a name. We're never going to have a name. It's always going to be the sports show with no name. As you can see, I've got someone on the screen with me. This is my man, my brother, Rayshone Gullatt. This is the former co-host of the Sports Inc. podcast, Rayshone Gullatt. Ray, I don't know what else you have going on, man. You got to tell them if you got anything going on, anywhere they can find you, podcast shows, whatever. I know you probably want to have soon. You're going to have a show with your boy JB Bickerstaff. I know that's coming soon.
Yeah, I know, right?
I remember how much you loved him as a coach. Yeah, just tell everybody where they can find you. First of all, man.
What's up, everyone? As my brother CB said, I'm Rayshone Gullatt. So far as like via media, you can find me at my personal handle, Ray Bless. It's spelled as it sounds. And you can also find me at my business page, Gullatt Productions underscore. So far as a couple of things I got going on right now. I work at a studio by the name of Wood. I've been there for over probably like 6 years now. Love it there. So far as projects that I'm working on, I'm working with our offensive tackle, Dewan Jones, and his camp. You know, he's doing like a vlog, and he's like the first athlete to do a vlog in the city of Cleveland. You know, most athletes they kind of just do like workout videos, but he's actually doing a vlog of like just kind of like his everyday life and things that he does outside of being a professional offensive tackle and working with the Browns and things like that. So when you get a chance, check that channel out. Follow them on Instagram. It's Racing Dogs Vlog. Dogs with a Z at the end. Vlogs is spelled VLOGS. Whenever you get a chance, check that out on YouTube and Instagram. And also working on a movie pretty soon too. Working with a friend of mine by the name of Smooth Gotti, who's got me getting ready to work in not in a movie, excuse me, a show. So I kind of got my hands a little busy right now, but I had to make time to get on here with my guy, man. It's been my guy since Ohio Media School days, and been one of like, if not the best, definitely one of the top two best people I've ever worked with in my life, and he's fantastic, man. So for anyone who's tapping in with his show and listening to him, you're doing yourself a great justice, no doubt.
I appreciate you saying that, man. The check is in the mail for all those kind words. I told you I'd pay you to say that. No, I appreciate you, man. And listen, I want to get all the info for everything that you got going on because all that sounds amazing. I want to check it all out. I know a lot of our viewers are going to check it out, and I'll put it right down here. Hopefully, pretty soon. But yeah, we'll get it on the bottom line when I play this on the show. But just make sure you text me all that stuff, and I'll get everything. We'll put it in the show notes, and that way they can find you and they can watch that, man. They can check you out. And yeah, you got to keep me updated on whatever. I mean, dude, like you said, man, you're busy. I can't believe, I feel like I'm starstruck now. I'm going to stutter over my questions now, man. Like I didn't realize.
Oh man, I'm trying to catch up to you, man. That's the
So from now on, should I contact your agent when I want to have you on these things, or what do I?
Well, if I was rich enough to have an agent like you, then yeah, I would say so.
Man, my agent's about to be my wife, which just means I get yelled at all the time. That's all that means.
Hey, I think that's the best agent in the world. You can
honestly, I need it. I need it. That's what I mean. I need that. So no, she needs to keep me straight, man. Every once in a while, she's got to keep me on the right path, right?
You gotta love it, right?
Man. Listen, the reason I had you on, obviously, you've probably forgotten more about basketball than I've ever known. I don't know why I've fallen out of touch with the NBA the last couple of years, man, but I just have. But there's a lot of good storylines, man. We got Bron and Bronny out in LA. Yeah. That's fun, man. That's a really cool thing to see. The Cavs are kind of in the middle of a resurgence, and that's why I brought you on. I wanted to try to preview the Cavs, but you know how it is. You're busy. I'm busy. My kids keep me like running all over the place. I wanted to try to do this before they were 8 games in, but we couldn't make our schedules match. And man, I feel like I have like 5 minutes a week, but hey, that's okay. That's okay. We're 8 games in. The Cavs are 8-0. So I just want to ask you. I'm gonna start with just new head coach Kenny Atkinson. I feel like I know a little bit about the track record. I know a little bit about his background. But listen, I mean, he's on fire. He's tied now for the best start for a head coach at a new franchise at 8 straight wins or 8-0.
Yeah.
They're winning games in all kinds of different ways. So let me ask you first. Are the Cavs going 82-0?
82-0, yeah. I think we all would dream for that to happen, right?
Could you imagine? Okay, that's not the question. I'm sorry. Yeah. What can we realistically expect from Kenny Atkinson? That's just how is he going to be different from JB Bickerstaff or just what we've seen over the last few years here? I mean, what can we expect?
I think the difference that you're kind of seeing right now from JB Bickerstaff, for one, if I could just to give JB his flowers, I think he did a well job when he was here. Especially considering what he had to work with when he first got here. Having Garland, um, and this is we had JB before even the Donovan days. So with
Mhm.
him having Garland, having Okoro, having Laurie Markkinen, I love what he had did with that lineup. That was just a prior example of like this is what the organization is providing me with,
Yep.
and what I got, I'm gonna work with it.
Yep.
Just putting Laurie at that three, a really big guy, because Laurie's about what 7 foot 7 1, if I'm not mistaken, at the three.
Yeah,
We're
he's a
gonna
big guy.
run that. Yeah, Laurie, you played, if I'm not mistaken, Laurie, you played a little bit of point guard in high school at a point in time, so you can handle the ball pretty well. Garland, you're learning as you're growing how to control the pace and just he just made all the chips fall in places, all the pieces fall in place. I think it was just a fantastic job. Um, Now, so far as the difference between JB and Kenny, because I was very surprised JB had success because I personally didn't think he was that great at all.
I
but
remember. I
but
remember.
yeah, but he did his thing, and but the difference that I see, and the thing of why I think that Kenny is kind of making this look like 10 times smoother than what JB is. Number one, we got to remember Kenny really started to make his name back out in Brooklyn. When after that trade happened and he acquired D'Angelo Russell, and then he had a lot of other the young guys like right now, like Karis LeVert, he had Jared at the time.
Yeah.
And I think you just have certain coaches in the league, bro, where they prefer. You got some guys who prefer superstars,
Yeah.
and you got some guys who prefer from scratch. And I think that's the kind of coach Kenny is. Kenny, because sometimes working with a superstar, it could be a little bit annoying because they got their personality, their
Yeah.
ego. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm
Yeah.
not going to come off the bench because you think my numbers are going downhill, which obviously to us and other fans they actually are. But hey, you can't tell them anything.
No.
Versus when you got a squad full of young guys who have that humility and that humbleness, where it's like, hey man, yeah, I'll go with it. I just want to
Yeah.
get better. I just want to be on the team. I want to grow. I want to develop. That always makes it 10 times easier for a coach,
I
especially a
agree.
coach that wants to build from scratch. And I just think this was the perfect. I think this was just the perfect scenario for Kenny. Especially after what he dealt with in Brooklyn. Once he, like I said, superstars. Once he acquired Kyrie and KD, we saw how much of a mess that was over there. Where the poor guy, lost his job. You
Right.
know what I mean? And then just it was a blessing for him to lose his job and then go under Golden State and Steve Kerr and his coaching staff and everything, and kind of saw how they work. So he was able to still have his own game and learn from a winning culture over there in Golden State. And
Yeah.
now he's here with the Cavs. It was just like the perfect scenario to me for him. So what I love that Kenny's doing, which is to continue on about what JB wasn't doing, for
Yeah.
one, he's just making it as simple as it is. Hey, Mobley, you were a first round pick, top five. We need more out of you. Like let's see why you were a first round pick. There's
Yep.
no reason you can't. There's no reason why Scotty is over there in Toronto doing what he's doing, making the noise he's making, and you're not making noise. Guaranteed two different players, two different skill sets, but essentially the noise he's making, you should be making noise over here, considering the fact of your height, your athleticism, your ability to shoot. We haven't seen something like you in a while. You're in the type of caliber of players. I'm not saying they're the same, but so far as the caliber and style of play, you're in that type of caliber of like the ADs of the world, the Kevin Garnett's of the world. You know what I mean? And you can defend.
The
So
skill set. Yeah. I mean, the skill set matches. Yeah.
the,
Exactly.
the,
Right.
the skill set matches. So
Right.
let's see this skill set come. Let's see it come to fruition, man.
Now
Like
it's consistency, right? It's doing it every night. Yeah.
doing it every night because at a point in time, like for me personally, when everyone else was still loving Mobley, I was getting frustrated with Mobley
Mhm.
because I'm just the same thing I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
Show me why you were a first round pick. Like
Yeah.
there were plenty of games I saw Mobley, like specifically too, like when we played Boston last year,
Yeah.
where at times a mismatch would happen, and you've got Derek White guarding Mobley, and I would get frustrated because he has a mismatch, but he's not calling for the ball.
Yeah. He's not.
and
He
what
wasn't aggressive at all. He just was.
Yeah,
kind of existing there. Yeah.
exactly. It's just like a
Yeah.
hey, if they see me and they get me the ball, then okay. But
Mhm.
instead of just sometimes like yes, you flow with the game and you let the game come to you. But when you have the opportunity to take advantage of a mismatch, an opportunity against your opponent, you have to act on that. You have to
Yeah.
show the aggression. You have to show that hey, give me the ball. I'm right here. I got a 6'5" guy guarding me. Okay,
Yeah.
give me the ball. Let me work. So I'm just glad to see like Kenny has put his foot down on that with Mobley. Hey, you. I know we got Donovan. I know we do, but we're gonna try to make you that guy because the great thing about having Donovan as well, Donovan is so specially like he's so talented
Yeah.
to where this guy, whether you make him the first option, second or third, he is so offensively gifted to where either option you make him, he still can drop 30 if he wanted to.
Yeah. We've seen
Like
it with the calf injury. He backed off a little bit, and
yeah,
was still really good down the stretch. I mean, obviously in the playoffs it kind of bottomed out a little bit, but yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And it's just like so Mobley, it's like for me, you have no excuse of not to just take it to that next level. So I'm glad to see that with Kenny. And like I said, just the perfect scenario with Kenny, which is like I said, getting fired in Brooklyn and going to Golden State, getting the feel of that winning culture and coming back and not only coaching the type of young team he likes, but players he's very familiar with in a Jared Allen and a Karis LeVert.
yeah,
Like that's just it just probably felt like just second nature to him when he got here.
yeah. I get that. Yeah, building the same type of roster, especially the familiarity with the actual players on the roster. I mean, there's some guys that he recognized. Now, am I wrong? Did he get fired after going to the playoffs there?
I don't think I can't remember the exact time he got fired, but I mean I wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised, man. You got coaches nowadays getting fired with a winning record. Like what happened out in Milwaukee with that coach? What was his name?
Yeah, they were
Griffin
in
or
first place. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
he got fired because
Well,
Giannis
David Blatt
didn't like
here.
him
I
like
mean, the
that.
Cavs were dominating, and David Blatt got tossed, and we got Ty
Yeah,
Lue in here, and that was probably a
exactly.
good thing. But yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, like that actually benefited us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But if that
yeah.
it goes back to what I'm saying about superstars. Like that
Mhm.
guy Griffin literally got fired because of the simple fact him and Giannis just couldn't see eye to eye. Like,
Yeah,
come on, man. I forgot what game was that where he told I think he was trying to sub Giannis out, and Giannis blatantly on the court was telling him like no. Like most of the time when you see situations like that, right, where a player is telling his coach no,
yeah,
it's because most of the time the coach sees that his superstar is tired, or he may have seen a play happen to where it kind of roughed his superstar up. So it's more so of a concern thing. Hey, bro, come get a break. And players are like, no, no, I'm good. You love that and you respect that because you
yeah,
love that dog and that fight and that superstar. But
yeah.
Giannis and Griffin's situation, that was nowhere near the same. It was like
I was gonna say, yeah. That
yeah,
that wasn't a that wasn't an old David Beckham. He's passionate on the sidelines thing. Like that was a
right.
you lost the locker room type of thing. That was
You
yeah. It was
lost
time
the
to
locker room. Yeah, and it's just so unfortunate because he had those
go.
guys winning. So, yeah,
Yeah.
to answer your question, I don't exactly remember if he got fired after the
Okay.
playoffs. I feel like it was a little bit before. But if it did happen, I wouldn't be surprised because we see how
Yeah.
coaches are getting fired now.
Right. Yeah, I felt like for some reason I felt like he was getting them on the right track, and then they made the playoffs and he got fired. And I was like, wait, what? But maybe that may not be him because we've talked about. I mean, that's a really common thing in the NBA.
It's so
Well, you answered my next one. You
unfortunate.
read my mind. You actually answered two questions in one, which was perfect. You answered. I was going to ask you what we could expect out of Evan Mobley, and if he was going to be able to kind of take that next step, or if
Yeah.
if Kenny Atkinson was going to kind of push him in that direction, because I feel like he needs that little maybe gentle nudge in that way. That like it's okay to take over. I know you came in here. It's kind of LeBron's house or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
moving in after, and like all his pictures are all over the walls or whatever. It feels weird, but
Right.
it's gotta feel weird, but yeah, I mean, take over, right? Like you're the guy, right? Like you and
You're the guy.
yeah, I don't maybe playing under Donovan Mitchell's shadow a little bit is a cause for that, but um, yeah, I think a lot of us wish he would just kind of take that next step and push himself towards superstardom. And like you said, I think the skill set matches a lot of guys in the league that we look at it as one of a kind,
Yeah.
and he's got it. He's got those tools. He just has to put them to use every night on the floor. So
He's got him, man. I mean, that guy, like, just at his height and his athleticism and what he's able to do with the basketball at that size, and the fact that he can do it on both sides of the floor. He can
Yeah, oh
play
yeah.
offensively. He's got a bag, and
Yeah.
defensively, he will make it tough for you, bro. There is no reason. There is no reason on this team. Like there's nothing holding you back. Not even
Right.
Donovan. Donovan, you don't think Donovan wants to have times where it's like, hey, I can give the ball to him and he can take us there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he wants that. I mean, he
This
had
dude
a
grew. Hey, listen, he grew up knowing about Kobe and Shaq. Like, how nice was that arrangement? I mean, come on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And come on, and you don't think he had enough of that, like in Utah, where it was just constantly on him, and he couldn't depend on Rudy because Rudy just kind of didn't seem like he really cared that much,
Yeah.
And he had Mike Conley next to him, but at the end of the day, Mike Conley is like kind of on his last leg, of
Yeah.
retirement coming soon, even though he still can ball out. Like, so yeah,
Yeah.
I think that Donovan would love for you, Mobley, to be able to help him out. So I love what Kenny's doing with him. And I think this is definitely that year where you're going to see, as we're kind of seeing it now, but more on a consistent basis, you're going to see Mobley just reach that peak more and more and more.
Yeah. Good. I mean, they're finding a role for Darius Garland. They're finding things for these guys to do.
Yeah,
It's going to be about avoiding injuries. It's always about avoiding injuries. I mean, every sport, every season, every championship hope, right? It's always about avoiding injuries. We know that,
yeah,
especially for the Cavs because man, they were injury riddled last year. You talk about JB Bickerstaff, and a lot of people talked about. I think one of the knocks on him was like this, like the size of the rotation in the playoffs, right? Like well, he's not playing 10 guys. We didn't have 10 guys to play. I
yeah,
mean, they only had a 7 or 8 man rotation. Like really couldn't do much. Like what? I don't know
yeah.
what you want him to do. He couldn't create guys out of. I mean, you can't. It's not a video game, right? Like you can't put a bunch of 99s on the bench and bring them in when you need them. Uh,
No, it's not.
yeah, yeah,
And some of this stuff is just, as I always talk about with my other friend, sometimes when it comes down to basketball and rotations and schemes, like it's some things are challenging, but some things just aren't rocket science.
yeah,
That kind of frustrated me with the Cavs as well in the past off season when they signed. I know other people were fans of it. Personally, I wasn't. But when they signed, George Niang and Max Strus, like I
yeah,
wasn't frustrated necessarily with you signing those kind of players, but I was definitely frustrated with the amount of money that you gave to each of them. And
yeah,
then for me, it was looking at the team, it was just like, that's not necessarily what we need. I just didn't understand the pickup of those two. Like you got George Niang, who I'm sorry, just to say, he looks pudgy on the court. I mean,
yeah,
like the guy just, he just doesn't look like he's in shape. You got Max Strus, who just had such a blunder in that finals against Denver. Legitimately, I think only averaged 2 points. I just didn't see where they made those signings into them. It made sense now, and that's where Kenny comes in. What I like what Kenny is doing, like now when I see George Niang's, he's making it make sense when he's on the floor at times.
yeah.
But it's like when they did that with JB and JB was trying to illustrate that. It just didn't look as clean as it could. And
Yeah, a
you
little
can
bit of a
see
square peg in a round hole kind of a situation. He was just kind of forcing things that didn't work. Yeah,
yeah,
I get
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna ask you just one final question. Think about it doesn't have to be this year. I mean, I know they're off to a hot start. They're 8-0. We
Of
talked
course.
about it. They're probably not going to go 82-0. Probably not. You never know. Do the Cavs eventually get to an NBA Finals under Kenny Atkinson? Is he what this franchise needs to kind of push him over that hump? Can they get there under this guy or no?
That's really a great
And you
question.
have to you have to factor in the Cleveland part of the equation too. Like this is Cleveland.
Exactly.
If anything can go wrong, it's Murphy's Law. It will dump on Cleveland. It will go wrong. So
It will go wrong. And to be honest, I
sad.
just felt like honestly at a point in time, Cleveland would never win anything unless LeBron came back. But
I
I
mean,
think
right.
I think that so what we see nowadays, we see coaches get signed, right?
Yeah.
And they may get signed to a 3, 4 year deal, however long. But if they don't make noise necessarily within a 2 year span, then next thing you know, it's okay, we got to move on from this coach.
Yeah.
And I personally hate that and it's like that because we live in such a microwavable generation where
Yeah.
everything, they just want everything to be so quick. They don't want to
Yep.
give things time anymore.
Yep.
So I think if you're a Kobe Altman and the rest of those people in that office, if you're gonna give him these 3-4 years to coach, actually give him these 3-4 years to coach. Don't let him go or think about moving on for him because this year we might snap and go off, but then the next following year we might have a downslide. Don't
Yeah.
fire him because of that. That is just basketball. Things
Right.
happen. Whether it's because you let this one key player go or you let that one role player go and it fell off, or the fire inside is just not exactly the same when it was the first go. But because stuff happens, don't let him go because of that. Actually, give him this chance. Give him the time that you signed him for a contract. I mean, you invested the money in him, and let him coach and see what can come out of this.
Yeah.
And because it just seems like nowadays, bro, like they don't believe in chemistry anymore. They just don't. Everyone's
Yeah.
just trying to rush things.
A quick
So I
fix,
just
like you
think
said. Yeah.
microwavable. So I just
Yep.
think if you just give it time, give him the chance,
Yeah.
build that chemistry with the players, build that chemistry with the coaching staff, build that familiarity. You
Yeah.
can see, I can see us progressing. I can see us getting to our Eastern Conference Finals. But
Yeah.
you gotta build with these teams. Think of the San Antonio Spurs. Like
Yeah.
when Pac was running with Tim Duncan and Ginobili, they didn't change anything. If
No.
you remember at a point in time, they went on a 7 year span where they didn't get to the championship.
Yeah.
But what did they do? They didn't make any drastic change. They
Nope.
kept that same core. They kept building. They kept working.
They
Sometimes you're
just
not
slowly built from within. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
exactly slowly build from within. Maybe pick up those little bit of key role players that help, but you don't need to make any drastic changes like firing
No.
the head coach, trading the superstar. No, if you give him that time, give him that time. Especially if he has the locker room and the players trust him. Just give him that time and let's see what Kenny can do. And I think that's just what this league is missing. More and more chemistry. Chemistry
Yeah.
also wins championships.
Yeah.
Not putting 3 or 4 superstars together because we've seen plenty of that not work out.
Absolutely.
Chemistry can still win championships. Give him
I
time.
agree.
I think Kenny could really actually surprise Cleveland. Just give him the time though.
Yeah. Listen, give them the time that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry and that whole, whatever that whole crew has had with the Browns.
Jesus. We
And well, maybe not because we see where that's gone now. But I don't know. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know.
we would need 2 weeks of a entire show to talk about that mess here, man. I just
Maybe they
golly.
can find Paul DePodesta a job in analytics with the Cavs now too. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Uh, such a mess. Anyway, well, listen, that about wraps it up, man. I don't know if I think I feel better about Evan Mobley. I don't know. He made me feel a little bit better about his development. I feel like maybe he is ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Rayshone, man, thanks for coming on. Again, tell us one more time where we can find you. And I want to take this opportunity when I get all the information from you. Like I said, I'm going to put this all on the bottom line so you can just everyone can watch and can just you don't have to catch it and rewind it 15 times or whatever because that's hard. But I'll put it all at the bottom line. I'll put it in the show notes so everybody can find you.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, man, we'll keep
So
it going. But tell
again,
us one more time where we can find you.
brother, I appreciate you having me on, man. This
Of
was
course,
really
anytime.
can't wait to come there and actually be with you in that fantastic studio you built, man. I'm looking forward to it. Again,
Appreciate it.
everyone, you can follow me at my personal handle at Ray Bless. It's spelled how it sounds, and you can follow me at Gullatt Productions _ at the end. Again, working with Dewan Jones. If you can't, make sure you go and follow the page and subscribe on YouTube at Racing Dog Vlogs. I'm pretty sure my brother will have this down there as well. And I'm looking forward to being on here with you next time, man. We can do an entire show. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you said, we'll get you in the studio. We'll get you at the very least, man. We'll get you remoted in live one day. But yeah, I appreciate this. This is a nice little break. I'm sure we're just sitting around, clowning around right now while this plays during the show, and maybe we don't even realize that we're about to come back live. Maybe there'll be a blooper there. But hey, man, again, thank you so much for coming on. Listen, man, you're welcome. You're a friend of the show. Again, welcome anytime. And we'll keep up, man. We'll keep having you on. We'll keep talking about the Cavs. Hopefully, the Cavs will keep progressing. And as they get to like 64-0, we'll have you back on to be like, hey, they're getting close. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey
never
man,
know. Here they are.
if they go 64-0, man, I'm buying you dinner for the entire week straight.
All right, I'm leaving that in. I'm not editing that out. You guys, everyone heard that. That's happening.
No,
Well, anyway, we'll have
definitely,
to work on getting dinner together anyway sometime, man. But
absolutely.
hey, again, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. I'll get all the information down the bottom line. They can check you out. They can watch what you're doing because it sounds amazing to me.
Appreciate it,
I'm gonna
brother.
check it all out, man. Thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate you so much, man.
I
And we'll
appreciate
talk soon, brother.
you. See you soon, brother. Love you.
Later. I love you too, man.